Up y'all's way, I get a lot of stuff.
That. Maybe that's their talent. Maybe they just need to take up acting. Yeah.
A lot of damage to Spartanburg.
Catalano.
One client that had a 40-acre beautiful hard. You know, this was where the guy's home is, had this beautiful stand behind him. Wife had running trails through it. I mean, you know, it was, no, it'll never be the same for him. We found a crew coming out of Rutherford, North Carolina, to give us a hand. Had track vehicles, and they do. Oh, I don't remember the name, but Foothills Forest Products found them for the guy. Butch Green found them for the guy. Yeah. I was so glad I retired when I did. All right, let's call this meeting to order. They gave me a gavel for the first time. If I see cockroaches, I'll throw the hammer over to you. So anyway, hopefully, really redone area won't have that problem. Michael, could I call on you to pray for? Yes, I should have read the statement of public notice before we had the invocation, but public notice of this meeting was properly posted at the South Carolina Board of Registration for Forester's Office, Synergy Business Park, Kingstree Building, and on the board's website, and provided to all requesting persons, organizations, and news media in compliance with Section 30-4-80 of the South Carolina Freedom of Information Act. Members of wish to observe may do so by live streaming at the website. All right, adoption of the agenda. The chair would entertain a motion to adopt today's agenda.
So moved.
Second? Second. Please call your name out when you respond for motions and for seconds so that they can get it recorded properly.
Christian Hendricks.
James Hollis.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. The agenda is adopted. We'll start with the introduction of board members and others. And since ladies are generally first in my life, Mary, you get to go first, and we'll just work our way around the room.
Thank you, although I'm not sure I deserve the the firstness with y'all being the board members. But I'm Mary League. I'm advice counsel to the board.
William Sly, Forester in Hartsville.
And James Hollis, Procurement Manager and Forester of New Indy Catawba.
Brandon Babb, Hodges, South Carolina.
Christian Hendricks with Hendricks and Company here in Columbia, South Carolina.
Charles J. Chip Maley, retired forester.
County Roads Board Executive.
Tia Williams, Administrative Assistant.
Thank you so much. We have no absences, so we do not need to take care of that. The approval of the minutes, meeting minutes from March 14th, 2024, those were distributed ahead of time. Go ahead, Johnny.
If you don't mind, if we can go back to the excused absences, I have not heard from Mr. Hilton of his absence, but if we could go ahead, or if we could at the, before the close of the meeting, go ahead.
I forgot about Justin. I apologize.
Not a problem. Not a problem, Mr. Chair. Again, I have not heard from Mr. Hilton of his presence or his absence. So if we could, before the end of this meeting, just in case he shows up, if we could get that on the record for his excused absence or for his absence.
Yeah, we'll do a motion towards the end. Would that be okay?
Yes, sir. Well, I'll defer to legal counsel. Would that be okay? Thank you so much.
Okay, so approval of the minutes, I believe they're in our folder, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, sir. They should be in your board secure folder.
Like a moment to take a look at those, please do.
You all have seen a March. Okay, give me one moment. Let me refresh you all.
Board would entertain a motion for those who've had a chance to review minutes of the March 14th meeting.
Motion to accept, William.
Second, Brandon Babb.
Any discussion? Hearing none, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The minutes have been approved from the March 14th, 2024. Time for remarks by the chair. Just thank you all for being here today, especially for those who came anywhere from the north where it was pouring down rain and 45 degrees when we left home. Also, I would like to take the time right now just to wish everyone a very happy and holiday season, both here at Thanksgiving and Christmas, and pray that you'll have time to maybe sit back, relax, enjoy your families, and enjoy the holidays. We'll conclude. We'll start now with staff reports. The executive committee report by Mr. Rose.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and other board members. Good morning to each of you. First, I want to welcome you all to our last meeting of the year. Of course, you all know that we scaled back now to 2 meetings, so we won't see you again until next year, 2025. So we're going to make this meeting count on today. When you all are speaking, of course, Mr. Milley has already done that housekeeping, but please state your name for the record as you are speaking so that our court reporter and also our person taking the minutes could actually identify you. And also, while you're speaking, make sure that you're speaking directly in the microphone. Of course, you can see here the red light is on. That is going to signify, of course, that the microphone is hot. And of course, we here could actually hear you. And also, our person viewing us by the social media platform of YouTube could also hear as well. I want to give you some statistics here for the board. As of November the 13th, the board has 650 registered foresters. And also want to give you some statistics when it comes down to the examinations. Now, as of, looks like the CF exam, 15 persons have already taken the South Carolina exam from April the 1st to October the 30th, and all but one has passed that South Carolina examination. The person who did not pass that exam for the second time, so each of the 15 persons who have taken that examination, they're unique test takers. But the CF exam has been a little bit more difficult to sort. So right now that examination has also been taken 9 times, and with 15 also failing those examinations. These are not unique examinations, as some have taken those examinations more than once. So that's why we see those discrepancies in those numbers there. But in the next meeting, you all will get a more detailed report in the regards to SAF and those examinations that our candidates are taking and also passing. Since March the 14th, the board has 15 candidates that have, right now, we're going to jump now to the board seats. Right now, there are no vacant seats here on this board, and we just want to thank each and every one of you board members. Thank you so much for your service, your dedication, and your hard work to this staff and helping us be better with our licensee population. Our next meeting for the board is going to be held March 13th, 2025, right here in this room. So if you have any materials or any topics that you would like to have discussed at the March 14th board meeting, please, sir, if you don't mind, just shoot me an email, give me a call, and we'll make sure that we actually have that identified on the March 2025 meeting agenda. And that will conclude my board executive report, but I would like to go ahead and do the financial report, if you don't mind, Mr. Chair.
That is fine with me. Thank you.
As of September 30th, 2024, the board has a cash balance of $76,975.35, and a copy of that cash report should be in your board meeting materials. And I will entertain any questions if the board may have them.
Would you please clarify that date one more time for March 2025? What day?
It is going to be March the 13th, 2025.
13th. Thank
Yes.
you.
I'm sorry. Yeah, March 13th.
Yeah, you said 13, then 14. I was kind of like, well, 14's a Friday. I really don't want to drive to Columbia on Friday.
My apologies. My apologies. I'm sorry. Yes, sir. That's correct. October the 16th.
Any other questions for Mr. Rose at this time? Hearing none. Thank you, Johnny, for the executive report and the financial report. I believe you were also going to address for Robbie Dean, who couldn't be with us today, for the Office of Investigations and Enforcements.
Yes, sir. That is correct. For item BI, the first item, the OIE status report, that report should also be in your board meeting materials. As of November the 14th, 2024, the Office of Investigation and Enforcement, they have a complaint that was received between the dates of January 1st, 2024, and also October 30th, 2024. And there is only one that has been received and one that has also been closed. And that would conclude the status report. And as of right now, there is no investigative review conference report, Mr. Chair.
Okay. I guess we will move on to the Office of Disciplinary Counsel. Leanna?
Yes, good morning, everyone. Office of Disciplinary Counsel has a report for you dated October 28th of 2024. Without being able to convene for an IRC, we still have 0 cases pending, so of course, or 0 open cases, so 0 cases to be pending or scheduled for hearings and agreements. So it's a 0 report from us for today.
Thank you for your time and for being here. Let's move on to new business. We will review and approve of the new members for the Investigative Review Conference. And I believe, Mr. Rose, you will be addressing this issue for us.
Yes, sir. Thank you again, Mr. Chair. Board members, in your meeting materials, you're going to see 2 documents in 10A. First and foremost, you're going to see that Investigative Review Conference, the duties and the responsibilities, that position description, and that person that we were actually looking for to identify for that IRC member. Since the last board meeting, we have had 2 individuals showing interest of being placed on the IRC. However, on today, we're going to ask that you review one of those individuals. His information is in your board meeting materials by the name of Mr. David Nagel, and his forester's number is 1156. And also in your materials, you're going to see just a little short description and a summary about Mr. Nagel and also his experience in the forestry industry.
So we will need a motion to approve him.
Yes, sir. We'll need a motion for that approval.
So the chair would entertain a motion to approve Mr. Nagel for this new position on the IRC.
So moved. Hendricks?
Second.
Second, Sly.
Any further discussion? Hearing in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Hearing none, we approve Mr. Nagel to serve on the Investigative Review Conference now.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And the staff, just for the record, will be reaching out to Mr. Nagel to get all of the required information from him to make sure he gets put on the IRC conference properly.
Thank you, Mr. Rose. All right, Russell, you get your chance now to come before the board. We appreciate you taking time out from your busy schedule over at Forestry Commission to be with us this morning.
Thank you very much for having me here. And what we're looking at is, I guess, an attempt for more consistency between our two agencies, LLR and the South Carolina Forestry Commission. So you might look at the one that's the Code of Laws to begin with, the 4827-130, which is requirements for qualification as registered forester. By the way, there was a little typo in the agenda. My name is spelled Hubright, Hubright. Kind of unusual, but
I'm sorry, how was that spelled?
Hubright. Looks like Hubright. So it's, as you can see on 4827-130, the following are minimum evidence satisfactory to the board the applicant is qualified for registration as a registered forester. And specifically, we're looking at number 1 under there, graduation from a curriculum in forestry of 4 years or more in a department, school, or college approved by the board, and a specific record of an additional 2 years or more experience in forestry. So it's really the first part I was wanting us to kind of throw out there and consider, have a little discussion about. So the approved by the board part has some flexibility, which the board may want to retain. But what we have done as an agency, the South Carolina Forestry Commission, is we've looked at your second handout there, which is titled Certified Forester. So this is from the Society of American Foresters website. And in our job announcements for all of our forester positions, we list the education requirements, which probably you should look at the third one. I'm sorry for there being so many handouts. But the third handout you have is sc.gov, right? And so it's just the classification of forester. There's different ones, Forester 1, Forester 2, Forester 3, but they all have the same requirement under minimum requirements. On the bottom, that's the education requirement. And it says, and this is very much how we advertise them when we post jobs as well, about forestry from a program accredited by the Society of American Foresters, or a bachelor's degree in forestry or related natural resources field that meets the Society of American Foresters certified forester educational requirements. So if you have someone that has a degree in forest management from Clemson University, that applies for registration, to me, unless there's some reason to interpret it differently, they meet the education requirements, right? That's the easy ones that come before you. And then you look at their job experience and that kind of thing. To me, the ones that I don't envy you having to figure out, do they meet the education requirements, are those that have all these other degrees that we're seeing these days, and degree in natural resource management, degree in environmental studies, and we get these applicants all of the time. And so what we end up doing is going back, again, sorry for going back and forth through all these handouts, back to the SAF website. And we go, okay, we've got Pathway 1, that's the easy to determine option. They've earned a degree at a baccalaureate or master's degree level from an SAF accredited program. Okay, check the box, move on to look at experience. And then if they don't have that, we look at Pathway 2. So they have an earned degree in forestry or related natural resources, then you have to look at what that coursework was. A total of 56 semester credits, and the forestry-related coursework, and then it refers to A through D below. Now, that's where you got, really on the back of your page, it's page 10 of this document, but it says a minimum credit hours with 51 credits in these 4 areas. So it gets pretty detailed, and what we end up doing as an agency with the Forestry Commission is we require the applicant to provide us with a transcript, because, okay, what does that degree mean? Environmental studies from wherever, it's not an accredited program, let's say. So do they have the minimum education requirements to do the job of a forester? And Chip was very gracious. I think at the last meeting, he said, well, I understand, with the Forestry Commission, you have a wonderful training program, and we think we do. But it's very difficult for us to make up for major courses they've missed, like silviculture, forestry, soils, dendrology we can kind of take care of, forest mensuration, how to measure trees, and some of these things that are pretty basic to forestry, but they may be missing. And unfortunately, a little editorial here, we find that a lot of the ones that have gone through those environmental studies programs, they're not just missing 1 or 2 classes. You know, they're missing 4, 5, 6. And we try to figure out how can we counsel that person to go online. Mississippi State has an online forestry program online and get some of this stuff. But basically, if they come to us as an applicant for a job as a forester, and they don't have the degree from an accredited program, and they don't meet these provisions here from the SAF Certified Forester Program, we have to tell them, I'm sorry, you're not qualified. Unfortunately, well, but the tension is, and this is what I'm throwing out for discussion, they could possibly, through your review, be considered registered. You know, they could get registered and meet the LLR's requirements. So does that make sense? There's some inconsistency there. I'm trying to figure out how we can probably line up with each other a little more closely.
Registered forester, but don't meet the education requirement?
That's a great question, Michael. Not yet. We're a little fearful of that because that's a little egg on our face, so to speak, because this board says, hey, you know, John Smith, he's registered and he's got 3 years of experience or whatever. And then we go, oh, yeah, but he's missing these 4 classes or something like that. So that's exactly the problem we don't want to get into.
This is William Sly. Now, am I not right? Are we only, as far as the 4-year degree, are we only looking at really schools?
Now, Maley, we have looked at non-accredited schools in the past, and really going down to Section 2, where they are able to pass the CF exam or the state exam, plus they've got 6 years of experience, and we have approved those for licensure. So it's trying to think of the most recent one we did. I believe he graduated from, trying to think of the college in North Georgia there.
Western's got a program, I think.
So there's a path to licensure for people who do not have a, quote, forestry degree, but they basically have to meet the requirements in number 2, and that 6 can be a problem sometimes for, I don't know if that's a problem for you all hiring or not, Russell.
Yes, we really couldn't hire them in a forester position and try to get them the 6 years later. They would have to show up with that.
Right.
Yeah. Really, William, yeah, we're not really even talking about number 2 here. That's fine, you know, but the number 1, when they're kind of fresh out of school, and do they have the ability to become registered within 2 years? That's our challenge.
So I think at this point, then, we've only considered the pathway that Chip has said if they are not in an accredited school.
Russell, also, what about the path we've talked about, Horry Georgetown, you know, 2-year program, 2-year degree, and then 4 years experience? On here, it's just showing just a 4-year degree, accredited school with 2 years.
Right, yes, and we've had that problem too, and we may need to look at, that's partly why I wanted to have this discussion, you know, as an agency, maybe we need to look at our requirements, because the Horry Georgetown program, I've worked with folks from there, they're top-notch, you know, they know what they're doing. Right? They may not have some of the other things, some of the theory and some of the technical writing and things that you might get at a 4-year school, but then. I'm not sure if I answered your question.
Well, I was just bringing that up, that I knew that was a path, was, you know, what we've had in the past has been.
We've done that path. We've done that path with both Horry Georgetown and ABEC graduates before. Basically giving them 2 years of credit for their schooling and then allowing 4 years of experience in the field to get licensed.
Right.
We're going to see that pretty common since that's right here. You know, that's South Carolina. So I know there'll be some people come to the commission that are probably Horry Georgetown graduates.
Right. But right now, we hire them as technicians.
Yeah, let them get their experience.
Yeah, well,
Or
I
learn.
can, well, yeah, so I can double check on that, but my understanding is that even though they have the experience and it could become registered, we're still looking at that background. It's, so if they're going to go into a forester position from a technician position, let's say, they still have to meet this state guideline here that says you have to be, have the bachelor's degree or have this certified forester education requirements. So it's a little tighter, yeah, than what LLR has, and that's part of the tension, I guess. Do we need to loosen ours up, or does LLR need to tighten theirs? I don't know.
Well, Brandon, I know you said in the past the biggest problem is finding help, period.
Yes.
And I agree, I'm a Horry Georgetown graduate. You could find folks like that, as long as you could change that 4-year, that qualify and meet the same standard you're looking for.
Right.
Because if you, strictly a 4-year and the paying jobs, it's hard to find anybody. And that's just the bottom line, you know that.
Right.
It's about cost of what you get in return for it, and you might loosen that a little bit, find maybe a 2-year or somebody else to fill that position.
Make a good point. It's difficult to find foresters that will,
Right,
work for us.
because, if they can find a job somewhere else for higher pay, and they go in there first, and that's the advantage and disadvantage of state jobs,
Well said.
So, that's the bottom line, really, ain't it? Trying to find somebody. I know Holly called me a while back about a guy applicant from, I think, ABAC, but it was, certified after he graduated, and that was a question. But like she said, you can't hire them unless they're qualified. So,
We have a urban forester, I'll put quotes around that, now in the PD region, who's actually, we redid the position advertised as urban forestry specialist because we couldn't hire as a forester. So she's working under a forester right now, so within 6 years, she can become registered. And that route, she actually has a doctorate, but she doesn't have a lot of these basic courses.
Russell, I think one of the things I can do to help clarify where we are versus where it is, we can't change this as a board. This would have to come
Right.
from the Forestry Association up through the legislature, and the change be made in the legislature. So either you guys are willing to loosen this as a commission, and I don't know how easy that is for the commission to do either. But for us to make changes, again, our hands are tied as a board. We have to allow Forestry Association to go through the legislature to make those. These are the rules that we have to play under as a board.
I think you clarified something for me, though, Chip. If I'm hearing how it's been working operationally for LLR, is that if you have a candidate that appears before you with a bachelor's degree from a program that's not been accredited, then you're mostly going to take the route of the 6 years, right?
That's correct.
So there's a lot of merit in that.
But also that candidate has to pass the test.
Oh, definitely.
He has to pass the test. He still has to pass we prefer for him to pass the Certified Forester exam and the state-specific exam, but he only has to pass the state-specific exam to be licensed. It's though nice if he goes on to get the Certified Forester, but he only has to pass the state-specific exam to be licensed.
Mr. Rose mentioned that certified forester test is tough.
Yes, it is. Both.
Both of them,
Yeah, they
yeah.
got to pass both.
Let's be a reciprocity.
Thank you, Johnny.
Cumbersome ordeal, and usually the factions that won't
right?
That would give some of your people that you're training. My opinion, eligible to be
Opens up a whole career pathway for them, which would be very good.
that way you could
Yeah.
reward some of your technicians for. That answer everything for you today, Russell?
It helps a lot. I really appreciate the opportunity to have a discussion like this. It's been very helpful. Thank you.
Glad you came in to have the discussion. It's a good discussion for us to have also. All right, we are going to postpone the travel approval for 2025 Asborff Annual Conference, as Mr. Rose does not have any specific information, and I don't believe, want to try to pass just a general motion that he can go anywhere he wants to at any time, so.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I don't think you'd do that to us, Johnny, so. And now we're to the election of officers. So it's time to elect officers for 2025. And the chair would be open to nominations.
Hey, Chip Malley.
What?
What position?
Well with so far.
Yeah, I second that. I think Chip's done a great job and very organized, so.
I looked to my right to see who keeps me organized, so. Any further nominations for chair? Hearing none, we'll close the nominations for chair. You want to do these one at a time?
Yes, sir. Let's do those one at a time. So if you want to throw it to me, I can call for the vote if you like, or Mr.
Yeah,
Hendricks.
I'll pass this over to you.
All right. So we've got a nomination for the chair for Mr. Charles Chip Maley. Do we have a motion?
Motion to accept, Chip, Mr. Chairman.
Second? Second. Hendricks. All in favor, please note by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Ayes have it, and that motion does carry, Mr. Chair. Congratulations.
Thank you. I do want the board to realize 2025 is my last year on the board, so my term will be up in 2025. So y'all have to find somebody new in 2026. My wife has told me it's time to retire. All right, and we need a vice chair?
Vice Chair, yes,
And
sir.
that's the only other office, is it not?
That's correct, yes, sir.
Okay, so the chair is open to nominations for vice chairman.
And as a reminder, right now, the vice chair is Mr. Hendricks.
Christian is willing to continue, so. You have a nomination?
So moved, Michael Mills.
Get a second?
Second, James Hollis.
That in the form of a motion, Mr. Mills?
Make a motion, Christian Hendricks, vice.
Second?
James Hollis.
Thank you, James. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? No opposition? So we have a new chairman and new vice chairman for the same chairman and same vice chairman for 2025.
All right, thank y'all so very much.
Do It is now time for any public comments, seeing that we have no public in here with us. I think we can forego any public comments. I guess the last thing on the agenda will
Well,
be to...
unless Mr. Hubright wants to say anything else.
Yes. You want to say anything else, Russell?
Just didn't want you to be ignored as a member of the public.
And before we do close, Mr. Chair, we will need that motion
I'm
for...
getting ready to go to...
My apologies.
I
Thank
moved
you.
my arrow all the way down underneath that.
I
so,
appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, we need to approve the approval of excused absences. Mr. Hilton was not able to join us today. We're not sure why, but the chair would entertain a motion to excuse Mr. Hilton for today.
So moved. This is Hendricks to approve Justin Hilton's absence today.
And a second?
Second, Sly.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of excusing Mr. Hilton for today, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes to excuse Justin Hilton from today's meeting. I know of no other business that needs to come before us today. The chair would entertain a motion to adjourn.
James Hollis, I move we adjourn.
Thank you, Mr. Hollis. Any second to that?
Second, Michael Mills.
Hearing a second, any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor say aye. Aye. We are adjourned.